I Love Mortgage Brokering, episode 22.
The most inspiring stories from today's most successful mortgage brokers. Join your host, Scott Peckford, on I Love Mortgage Brokering.
Hi, Broker Nation. I'm thrilled to introduce our guest today. Nick Bachusky is a broker with mortgages in Ottawa. He's a broker for nearly 3 years and was recently highlighted in CMP Magazine as one of the young guns of our industry. He's also awarded Mortgage Agent of the Year by his peers by Faces Magazine in Ottawa, and he runs a weekly podcast called Lunch Out Loud. Nick is a very busy guy, and I'm absolutely stoked to have him on the show today. Are you ready to rock today?
Absolutely, brother.
So, Nick, I always like to start off by, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So I'm a mortgage broker in Ottawa, Ontario, mortgageinottawa.com. Very active in the community. Like you said, I co-host a weekly podcast called Lunch Out Loud Ottawa. We are currently on our 83rd episode, I love podcasts, so I absolutely love what you're doing. Guests on the podcast range from, we've had the mayor, city councilors, developers, all the way to young entrepreneurs, philanthropists, student newspapers, basic athletes from Ottawa, so a lot of different people. So that keeps me very interested. I totally believe in adding value to absolutely everything I do in life. So for my clients and as well my referral partners, I want every situation I work in to be a win-win for everybody involved. So constantly looking to improve in this industry. I think I am one of your, I've only been in the industry for 2 years, 8 months. So I think I'm one of your youngest guests in the industry. Is that correct?
You are, yeah, but you're also doing some pretty cool things. And so when I was talking with you, I'm like, dude, we need to get you on the show because I think that there's a lot of the old guard can learn things from doing things a little bit new or differently. So that's, you know, the show is about brokers who are, you know, just doing interesting things or stuff. We can learn stuff. So I'm excited about what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, and I absolutely love mortgage brokering. I wouldn't choose any other profession in my life right now. And so always constantly looking to improve. I just want to mention Canadian Mortgage Hangouts, hashtag CMHTV. I love that show every Thursday. And I love mortgagebrokernews.ca. So getting the updates every day. And I think that every mortgage broker in this industry should be paying attention to, I think, this podcast, Canadian Mortgage Hangouts, as well as the newspapers and mortgagebrokersnews.ca every single day.
Cool. Awesome. And I'm going to come back. I'm going to circle back to the Lunch Out Loud thing at some point. But before I do that, how did you get into the mortgage business?
So I got started. I lived in Ottawa, and for Ottawa, it's kind of difficult to get all kinds of different jobs if you're not fully bilingual. And I am not bilingual, but I absolutely love this city. And I graduated from the University of Ottawa with an international management degree. I knew I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always loved starting my own little companies or thinking of different ideas for friends that were running their own companies. But I did want to work in finance. So I started off with the bank because I wanted to learn everything about banks. Funny thing is, before working in banking, I never even went into banks because I started off as a software engineer. I knew about the internet. I only used banking basically for basically online and learning about banking online and using forums and doing my personal banking that way. Because when I was going into banks, you would get a lot of the time history students or people that weren't passionate about banking and finance. So, and I did have that passion. So I did go into banking. I worked at RBC for a couple years. Then I wanted to move on because of situations there. I worked at TD as a financial advisor at one of the top branches in the country. It was right across the street from Parliament. So a lot of my clients were the MPs and higher ranking officials in the public service. And that's where my love of mortgages kind of started. I loved that they were trickier than the typical, oh, here you have to sell this mutual fund. You only get like 5 mutual funds. You can't really give advice outside of those 5 typical mutual funds. But mortgages were were problem solving. So I really liked that. But the problem was working at a bank, I was always told you had to hit this certain target. So I knew what the lowest rates were because I would see on the internet, wow, these rates are a lot lower than what I'm offering. Why wouldn't people go to those? And I have to hit these targets. So I'd always feel like I'm kind of lying to people. And I don't like lying to people. And so I spent a lot of time traveling across the world. And I spent a lot of time in Vietnam and Cambodia and Thailand, where I used to hang out with the poorest people on earth, but they were the happiest people. And they didn't worry about money. They worried about community. So then working at the bank and doing mortgages there, I started going, you know what, I'm going to service my client, give them the lowest rate, but blow them away with customer service. So I would do that. and they would rave to my managers about how great service, low rates that they got. And I would feel so good when I did that. But then I'd get to my office and, prepare for my next client. And then the manager comes in and goes, yeah, great job with that. And I'd be like, yeah, awesome. They were really happy to bank with TD. And he goes, yeah, just one problem. You're not bringing revenue to the branch. You're not making any money. I go, yeah, but our commercials for TD say, serve the client first. Be the best for your client. And I'd be like, yeah, so I'm doing that. I'm living the dream and I'm so happy. And I was going to sleep all right. And then he'd be like, you know what? No, you got to aim for that target. I go, well, they knew the lower rate. They're going, well, try to sell them on that they're with TD and they get this great service. And just, doing that for a few months just took everything out of me. Then I started learning that, like, we did have the mortgage professionals in our branches that would come in from time to time. We would actually service those mortgages, but I would see them, and there was a few that would work out of my branch, and they would be yelling, arguing with their clients, and I was just like, what is this? How much is this guy getting paid? And they would tell me, I'm like, really, for that kind of attitude? Mm-hmm. No. So then I met somebody that was a mortgage broker, and I said, I can get paid on giving the lowest rate, and he's like, yes. I go, okay, let me repeat myself. I will get my clients the lowest rate, and I can provide the same service I give them here, and I get paid with it, and I don't have to haggle. He's like, absolutely. I go, okay, that's good. So I quit a couple weeks later, and here I am today, and absolutely love what I do.
Dude, that's such an awesome story for as someone who's, my wife was in the banking world as well, and there's a lot of people actually that are brokers that came from the banking world. So everybody's experience is different, but I agree with you that there's some flaws in the design, and so for you found that, hey man, brokering is going to work, and we're glad to have you as a broker, and I think, So before we dive into the rest of your story, I want to ask you about a success quote that has impacted your life or business. So can you share with us a quote that's really impacted you?
Well, I have a couple, and like a few of your prior guests, there's tons. So I chose these two. If you really want the key to success, start by doing the opposite of what everyone else is doing. So I work as an independent broker. I'm not part of one of the Dominion Lending or the Verico brand or Mortgage Architects. I struck out on my own because I thought I would be able to give different value added, and I had a lot of different ideas than the larger chains. So that's kind of one of the things I'm doing that's opposite of what everybody else in this industry is doing. As well as I would see a lot of people in this industry, bringing candies into real estate agent offices and muffins and wine and all this kind of stuff, and then I would talk to the real estate agents and go, does this work for you guys? They're like, no, we just give it to you. Do you want some? And I would be eating food from other mortgage agents, so I thank them for that. But so that's that sort of thing. The other quote I do like is, the keys to brand success are self-definition, transparency, authenticity, and accountability. I think for us as mortgage brokers, we are relied upon as such a fundamental aspect of the community. And that we'll get into a little later. My view of, we are getting people into their first homes or their second homes, and our job is to take it away from the financing, which causes such a deep-rooted stress in a lot of people and their families. And we are there we have the joy of being able to take that away from our clients and make them concentrate on the better things, like, we're moving to a new neighborhood. What kind of sport teams are we going to play on? What can we actively get involved with in that new community? What kind of, we're moving to a new house. How do we want to put our furniture in our house? So that's the kind of thing I love about doing mortgages and practicing what I preach and being transparent and asking if they have any questions, ask any time of the day, text me. You could go any kind of route you want. So I love that. That's from Simon Mainwaring, who is an author of a great book called We First: How Brands and Consumers Use Social Media to Renew Capitalism and Build a Brighter World. So it's a different kind of not money first kind of world, which I think I kind of believe in and try to live in.
Right. So this idea that you were talking about of community and building community, the Lunch Out Loud thing the podcast that you have is really about that. So can you just talk about maybe some of the impact that's had on your business since you started? Because you've done 82 episodes, which is awesome, I think. And tell me about how that's impacted your mortgage business and your community as a whole.
Well, it's great. I came up with the idea from always love and listen to podcasts, and just being genuinely interested in so many things in this city. Working at a bank, they would be like, well, we have our charities that we work with. You have to wear your green shirt when you're there to promote the brand. And I thought that was so focused more on the company or the corporation, and not what really should just be is plain helping and plain being out there. So I wanted to create a kind of radio show where I could talk to such a range of people and try to not always what they're in the newspapers for interviewed, but try to make them more humanized and do it in a relaxed atmosphere. So every one of my episodes, I go to the guest's place where they're comfortable. They don't have to be. They're not in a TV studio, or they're not in a radio studio, and we can get to know each other. And there could be, it works for them and it works for us. And one great thing about how this impacts my business is when you have a lot of clients that maybe first-time home buyers that ask a lot of questions about, the real estate lawyers or inspectors or interior designers or financial planners, I bring that right to them. So I will listen to all my clients. So I gathered all the questions that they would have, and then we can interview on our podcast. We'd have real estate lawyers, inspectors, interior designers, home stagers, financial planners, accountants. And so that would work with them because it's just tightening my referral partner network, but it also is beneficial for my client. And with every one of my new clients, I can send them a document that will have, do you want to listen to a real estate lawyer? And then you spend 30 minutes, you get to know your lawyer before you meet the lawyer, and they answer several questions that you may have or you may not have even known that you should ask. So that's one thing that I really love. And the fact that we don't believe in advertisements. We want all of our guests to be like, oh, Lunch Out Loud is coming to talk, like they're asking us to be on the show. Yeah, that's great, because we haven't heard a bad thing about them. They're not in it to just promote themselves. We never talk about that. I never even mention I'm a mortgage agent on the radio show. I don't believe in that self-glorification. I just believe in getting value-added information out there to the listeners at every single episode, just like you do.
Yeah, I absolutely. When you told me about what you're doing with this Lunch Out Loud, I was like, man, if people listening right now, if anybody listening to this, if there's not like 5 or 6 or 10 of these set up in other cities across the country in the next like 3 months, you guys are missing on a huge opportunity. Huge to grow your network, to connect with your community, and really to give back in a really simple, tangible way. I think it's an absolutely genius way to build. You're basically building a platform, and the platform then becomes you attract people, and then like you said, you can then send links to interviews to people like, hey, you're thinking about this, check out this interview. And I think it's absolutely, I love it.
Yeah, and it's great. It works so well because when you're giving out instead of your monthly newsletters that are just the same generic ones over and over that are deleted all the time, if you get Mailchimp and you can tailor it to a certain kind of way, like many of your guests in the past, with interesting information. So every single month I can give 4 new episodes that they can listen to, give a little snippet about them. And we've had the owner of the new football team in Ottawa. We've so many interesting ones. And then you can look at before you go to something like this versus your old mailing list, you're going to see a 100% improvement on your open rate. So people are actually reading your monthly newsletters. Mm-hmm. And that's what you want. I love it. So I think it's fantastic. And if there's not like a 10 of these in the next 3 months, people are missing out huge. So I gotta get back to my questions, because I could camp out on this for an hour. And if anybody wants help with starting it in their own city, I would be more than happy to help you out with different advice of how do you approach people, how all those kind of things.
Why don't we do, Nick? How about this? This is totally off script here, but why don't if people are interested, why don't we put together like a little webinar or something where you can share how you structure something like this if somebody's interested in doing something in another city.
Yeah, let me know if you do get some response that people are looking to do this.
I'll put something together, and then we'll do something, because I totally think people should be doing it. So
absolutely, we have the time. We have 3 hours a week to make a small little difference in our communities and be viewed as mortgage professionals. We talk to people on a day-to-day basis that have different jobs. That we are one of those lucky professions that get to have every day for us is different. So
right, it's great. So I'm going to go back to my question. So
absolutely,
failure is something that I know that I've made some mistakes as a mortgage broker and entrepreneur, and so there's always a lesson though when you look back. So can you share an example of of something that you failed at, and then looking back, the lesson that you learned from it?
Well, I failed right off the bat. I didn't do much research into. I knew I just wanted to get out of the bank and become a mortgage agent. I did no research on who I should go with to work with. So I went with the first person that approached me. I guess they saw that I was a young go-getter and I was easy prey for them. So and a lot of people warned me about working for this certain agent, and I thought, you know what, if everybody's warning me, I can probably learn something from this. But anyways, yeah, I was lied to about what my compensation was. I was lied to about what kind of services I'd get with this agent and all that sort of thing. So basically, like a lot of people in this industry, where you would take your course, and then I was just launched right into running my own business, no clients, not really any guidance other than, well, you should be talking to 4 real estate agents a day, every single day. And I just thought that was, if you're talking to 4 real estate agents every single day, you're talking to 20 weeks. What if you get 20 deals because you're a very good talker and you're very transparent and you have a very believable and likeness to yourself? You get 20 deals right away and you're brand new in the business. You're going to sewer all those 20 deals right away. And then you ruin your name within 1 month. So, but of course the agent of record would love that because, they're getting paid. They don't care. You'll come and go, but they just picked up a bunch of clients and they'll smooth it over once you're gone. So I thought that was just right away. I'm like, that is not the way I'm ever going to operate my business. I will do it slow, steady, and earn my business. So I guess that would be one. So if there's any other potential mortgage brokers out there, then do your research and talk to BDMs in the city. I never knew about BDMs and how much expertise they would have within the broker world. So that's one thing that I did learn.
So do your homework on any potential person you're going to partner with. I mean, one of the things right now, I have about, I think, 70 interviews up. The goal is 100. So if someone has interested in working with somebody that we've interviewed, there's a great way to just listen in and find out what they're like, right? So they can listen to the interview and go, yeah, maybe I'd get along with that person or maybe I wouldn't. But I'm putting a little plug for my podcast in here, but I think that it's just good to do homework.
I think you're exactly right, though.
So another thing I've noticed about successful brokers is they always have a systems and processes, and their processes, they're willing to adjust and tweak them in order to get better results. And so I'm going to ask you about specifically about your administrative process, so on the back end or the paperwork side. So can you share an example of a process that maybe wasn't working as well as you'd like, and what sort of adjustment you made and what the outcome was?
Well, a lot of it, I once again, I came back from a software engineer background, so I love making my own websites. So I've made my own CRM because I love Excel, and I learned, once you're doing so many school projects in it, you're used to it. So why switch off and do something that you're not used to? So I took some time, and I would always refine how I use Excel with the other apps on my phone. So that's one. Going paperless was absolutely key. With Dropbox, you don't need paper at all in this industry anymore, really. And unless your clients do want it, of course, you're always going to give that option to clients. I guess my website, always updating the website, always doing research in WordPress, always keeping up to date with everything that's going on with new SEO, what's new in the industry. But that's just because I love doing that. I know if anybody else is listening and they're thinking about doing all of this, it's really hard to do unless you absolutely love learning about back end of WordPress or back end of Excel or new technologies on a weekly basis, which I love to do. So.
Mm-hmm. And so basically you created an Excel program to track your deals, or what do you use the Excel for?
Well, that's just my CRM. So I manage my clients to track my deals. It's a lot of what some of your past guests have done in the past. Every folder in Dropbox will have what it needs to have there. And then I can check mark on the Excel what I have, what I need going forward.
Right. And do you have do you use like signature, like the real signatures, or do you have like the virtual signatures?
We can use real signatures.
Okay. No, I was just thinking, how I've seen some agents I've talked to they have, I can't remember, it's eluding me right now, but it's basically a signature that you can use like a virtual signature, so they can sign on an iPad or they can sign. Is that something that you've experimented with, or
Not yet. Until I hear that that's fully legal, until I see that there is because I know that is going through for real estate agents in Ontario right right now, and I knew the minister that drew up the legislation for that, but I think that still might be going through because we just had the elections in Ontario. Mm-hmm. So it should be here soon. I don't know if that's going to translate to mortgage brokers yet, but no, I don't do any kind of...
Okay, when you said paperless, that's what I thought. So I know that in BC, a lot of the mortgage or real estate agents are going with this VeriSign or something where you can sign it. And so I haven't experimented with it, but if someone has, fire me a note. I'd love to chat with you about how it's working.
I can't wait to... I don't see any problem with that at all.
And then I'm going to ask about now a sales process. So another part of our business is obviously sales, generating leads, marketing, and successful brokers are always willing to make adjustments to those processes. So can you share like an example of a sales process or a marketing process that maybe wasn't working as well as you'd like and an adjustment you made and what the outcome was?
Well, I guess right off the bat was not knowing what was out there. But I think for me, I've done so much reading of entrepreneurs and just being genuine and being yourself. So I also started with another realtor. We started a kind of a networking group. I don't like to call it a networking group. I call it kind of it's essentially a company. Like we're a lot of sole proprietors in 23 different professions, and we meet monthly to talk about, competitors in our industries. We talk about what's worked in marketing in our industries, what's worked in, what hasn't worked, what they need help with, and we want to see them grow. It's not like a BNI where you have to go, I got them 4 deals this month, I did it that, and then you pay an annual fee and there's a president, and we don't believe in anything like that. We're all the same, and every single month we go to a local restaurant, and it's always a different local restaurant because they're always like, why did you guys just bring 25 people here? Who are you? And those restaurant owners can always use services of one of those people in our group. And then from there it just grows. So we've made flyers with that, and we and there's been partnerships with our interior designers and painters and developers in this city, and they're all working together now. So and we have a lot more plans for the future in Ottawa that we're going to be doing. So that's kind of a sales It's not really a sales process, but it's relationship building, and we refer because we're a large group and we want to see each other excel. We're actively looking to refer clients to each other at all times. So that's kind of what I work on. And then through the back end, I love with my clients, I want to make absolute real connections. So when meeting with your clients, it's not just about the sales transaction. I try to make it like a win-win. So you want to listen to where they work. Do they like their jobs? What do you think? What kind of things do they like in the community? And that's where I leverage the podcast as well, going, did you know about this meetup? Did you know about this kind of group? Did you know about what these people do? Do you know about that? And they're like, no. And then so if you can add value that way, it really solidifies that brand so that they're really like, when I started, I'd meet a lot of people that wouldn't know their mortgage brokers' names. That was my biggest fear. And that's what I try to work on every single day. I would want my clients 1 year down the road, 1.5 years down the road, if somebody asks, who is your mortgage broker, that they know right away. Sorry about that. We got to...
That's okay. Anyway, I don't know what I was going to say. It threw me too. So it is what it is. I agree. I think that the networking. So do you have a title or a name for your networking group? Just because you're good at naming things, so I want to know what you call it.
We call it the Soda Network.
So why Soda?
State of the art networking.
Okay, good. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. That's why I wanted to know the name of it. So I knew you'd have a clever name.
Yeah, a new age of networking. I think I always believe in win-wins, and we're going to be doing a lot more volunteering in the future.
Right, that's awesome. And another theme that I've noticed is diversifying your income. I've been talking to a lot of brokers, and there seems to be two camps. One says, yes, we need to diversify our income. Another camp says, no, stick to mortgage brokering, and that's enough. And so what's your take on diversifying your income? Is it something that you do? And if so, where are you focusing?
So I absolutely have to say, once again, I love your podcast because I used to be a straight no, but then I would hear some of your past guests that would say, I've taken the courses just because you want to know that little added knowledge. You want to, and I love to learn. So I don't believe in becoming a broker, a licensed insurance broker, but I wouldn't mind learning the courses so that when I do a referral to a licensed mortgage insurance agent, I can do a lot better and know exactly, why they should be going there. Mm-hmm. But I could have been I was one course away from being a certified financial planner before I became a mortgage broker. It was not for me. And I don't think that you could be a mortgage broker as well as know everything you're in financial planning. I think it's just an avenue where you want to leverage your referral partners and work that way. But I do see, like, I don't make money from it, but I do see us as small business consultants. We could work in our communities and just listen to our clients that are small business owners or are thinking of starting small jobs and be connectors. So, that's where I see the leveraging, being connectors, connecting people that have ideas with other people that have like-minded ideas.
Right. No, I think that's fantastic. And yeah, so now the next question is about a family. So I don't think you didn't mention you had a family, but so how do you manage you have a lot of stuff going on. So how do you manage your time so that, you still have some time for yourself and you have time to work on your business, and then you have your podcast and these other things you're doing. So give me some tips on how you're managing that.
People always ask, how do you have so much energy from 7 a.m. till 11 p.m. every single day? So it is, and I've learned this from, Tim Ferriss and other entrepreneurs, even Warren Buffett. So I believe in eating the same thing every single morning. I have a protein shake every single morning, a small snack, the same lunch every single day. So that way you can, you're never thinking about what you're going to eat or what you need. You just know you have to do it. You streamline that process. You get your energy for the day. And that's all of 10, 15 minutes. So you have 15 minutes that will take care of your energy right till 5 p.m. I also believe in, I do yoga every single day. So one hour where your phone is shut down and you can meditate and work on, because our postures suck in this job. So if you can work on your posture and your flexibility and your mindfulness in this position, you're going to be a lot quicker for your clients and always be thinking how you can help them a little more.
Right. That's good.
And of course, listening to podcasts to and from client meetings or anything like that. Always kind of self-improvement.
Right. Constantly learning. It's good. So
Exactly.
I'm going to move to the rapid fire questions. So these you can answer with a little shorter answers. So what is the one thing holding back most mortgage brokers from being successful?
I think being genuine, being in the wrong industry, doing it for the money, maybe meeting other mortgage brokers that tell you, how lucrative it is, and not being in it for the real reasons, like helping people and really loving what they're doing.
What one thing or habit do you think has made you successful?
I think being genuinely interested in every single person and genuinely when you get a new client, you do every single thing for them. And just like you say, every client is the same no matter what their income, no matter what their situation is. You want to help them to the best of your ability and follow up with them and be with them for the rest of their lives.
So do you have an internet resource or software program that you use? You mentioned Dropbox, but do you have another one that can I hit you up for another one?
So many. I'll tell you app very quickly. Next Issue, because then you can get it's an app on I think every platform where I read Inc. magazine, Money Sense magazine, Fast Company magazine, Entrepreneur magazine every single month. It's just like Christmas every single month when you get to read one of those, and I think that's for $10 a month. I love Dropbox, love Excel, love Mailchimp. I love Twitter for online networking. So and then podcasts. So those would be mine.
So that's 5 resources. Awesome. That's just you, though. You don't do okay, tell me one thing. No, I'm going to tell you 5. So
if I can help out other people in this industry, that'd be great.
So if you could recommend one book for our listeners, what would it be?
It would be The 4 Agreements. So it's an excellent, it's kind of like a self-help book, but it's excellent. The 4 Agreements being, number 1, be impeccable with your word. Number 2, don't take anything personally, especially in our industry. We need that. Number 3, don't make assumptions. Always learn to ask the questions. And number 4, always do your best. And then it elaborates on all of those.
Never heard of it. And
I will definitely forward that for you.
Cool. And where do you think our industry's headed? Where's the opportunity?
The opportunity is just knowing that we can align ourselves in the community a lot more and be the professionals in our community, be out there at events, work with our city councilors, be part of your community associations, and just keep listening to our clients. And that's going to keep us different than those online mortgage brokers where they'll go 5 points down or 10 points down, but they're not going to connect with our clients. So you're going to live a better life if you're going to really genuinely want to meet your clients, care about your clients, and then see them through the whole step of the way, through the mortgage process and beyond.
Right. I agree. I think there's still tons of opportunity for us.
Absolutely.
And so here's one of my favorite questions, the DeLorean. Do you remember the movie Back to the Future?
Yes.
So in the movie, there's the DeLorean, and if you could travel back in time to your first day as a broker, which is not that long ago, really, only a few years ago, but you could give yourself 3 pieces of advice to make your business better today. So what 3 things would you tell yourself?
3 things. Don't take things personally, because right off the bat, I really had a sour feeling about the banks and the kind of service people would get there. So don't take it personally, because, right off the bat, you're new. Some people are not going to trust you right off the bat. So that would be 1. Number 2, I would, get involved with the community right away. I didn't know where to start, so I had to learn. I had to relearn, because I was programmed by a bank on, you have to do these exact charity events, and you can't do anything else, or it's not working towards the bank. And a third would, join sport teams, join groups that you love to do, and then people can see you in your natural element, and they'll be interested in what you do and want to see you succeed. That authenticity.
Nick, I really appreciated your interview and your time today. I really think that people are going to get a lot of value from this conversation that we've had. And so where can people find you online?
On Twitter at Bachusky, BACHUSKY. On Instagram at Mortgage in Ottawa. Online, www.mortgageinottawa.com. And if you want, add me on Facebook or any other way. Very accessible, and would love to talk to anyone.
Cool. And if anyone else is looking for the show notes or any of the stuff we've talked about, they can go to ilovemortgagebrokering.com. I'm going to connect with you after about doing some kind of a webinar on how to set up one of those lunch out loud type programs in communities, and we'll see what kind of interest we get. Nick, I hope you rock the rest of your year, and thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Scott.
The most inspiring stories from today's most successful mortgage brokers. Join your host, Scott Peckford, on I Love Mortgage Brokering.
Hi, Broker Nation. If you enjoyed this interview, please take a minute, visit iTunes, and rate this podcast. If you do, you'll get 3 deals in the next month. Okay, that's not true, but I would really appreciate it. Also, I want to invite you to join me on a quest. After every episode, I personally take 5 minutes and think about one thing or one idea I can use to improve my mortgage business. I encourage you to do the same. Over the next 12 months, I plan to do 100 interviews and make 100 improvements. I'm going to track these to see how they impact my business and, more importantly, my bottom line. Visit ilovemortgagebrokering.com and post in the show notes what one thing you plan to do differently after listening to this interview, and check out what other brokers are sharing. Also, if you'd like to connect with me, fire me an email at scott@robyourbank.com. I love hearing from passionate mortgage professionals who are interested in improving their business. Until next time, rock on.